Okay, can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, well, it looks like, give me, oh, yeah, and Sherry, or I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right. I got an email from you just now. I just ran in the door here, so I was going to try to respond to that, but it looks like you made your way in here. Uh, but she's not on, she can't hear us yet. Let me see if I can help her, everybody. That audio is such a tricky thing with people that don't know to flip the audio switch there. Well, hopefully she'll, oh, that was Cheryl. All right, Daryl, let's get started. What you got this evening?
I'll pass, Scotty.
Excellent. All right, I like the sound of that. David, is this the infamous David?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, tell me, how's it going, David? How's everything? How's life?
It's great.
How's the world of Minecraft?
I don't play that much. My cousin like showed it to me, but I mean, I don't really understand the point of it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really either. I guess. I mean, is it safe to say that it's the world's largest Legos collection? Maybe.
I
Uh,
would say so.
yeah. All right. Well, David, you have anything on your mind this evening that I might be able to help with?
Um, well, you got a little question from Cheryl.
Oh, I see. Yeah, see that came up. Okay. I don't know if Cheryl can hear me. I don't think that she can yet. So give me a second to address this.
Okay.
Cheryl, if you can hear me, uh, type in that you can. Guess not. Uh, let's see. Okay. By the way, Daryl, I posted the last week's, and anybody else, Joan as well. I posted last week's uh, town hall online. I'm not sure what I'm going to call that yet. I only started working on that last night, so just for future reference, I'm going to start recording
Yes.
these. So I've got
Yeah,
that.
I
Where'd you
saw on
post it
YouTube.
on the website?
Yeah, on mine. I don't think I want to call it previous town halls because that's confusing to some people as well.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
gosh, I really wish I could get Cheryl in here. Let's see.
Scotty, it looks like there's a little phone icon next to hers instead of a microphone. Maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah, she's got to be able to. Give me a second to type here. Can you guys all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see the instructions on how to do it there on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
She hadn't figured that part quite out yet. I wish that there was a way that I could set it to default use the microphone, but it defaults to the phone conferencing software. So basically, people could be on the phone and call into a webinar like this.
Oh, I've done that before, but it's kind of a pain because part of the whole thing about this is seeing the screen.
Yeah, and the audio quality sounds a lot better too. Looks like she's doing something. She may have gotten in. If she gets in, hey, there she is. We'll have to cheer her in a moment. Hey, Cheryl's in.
Yay!
All right, Cheryl, are you with us?
Yes.
All right, excellent. All right, well, we were just on David here. So, David, what did you have a question or concern this evening?
Yes, I do. Well, it's not really a concern, but my mom's birthday is tomorrow, and what I'm planning to do is because she has her laptop, she doesn't back up her laptop, she only backs up her main computer. So I'm gonna get a backup hard drive for her, like a portable one.
Yeah.
Is there any type you recommend? I mean, I know what I like, but for what she has, like she has a lot of pictures for, so you think there's one better than another for her?
Well, there's the one that I avoid first. I'll tell you the one that I don't like first, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The one that I don't like is the Western Digital My Book. Uh,
Oh, I hate those.
yeah, those are pretty bad. And the reason that I don't really care for them very much uh, is because they have a partitioned area, David, on the hard drive that Western Digital embeds this software onto that's really difficult to get off. So this drive I do not really care for very much at all. So I'd say avoid those. The ones that I do like are the Seagates. Seagate,
Yeah, that's what I have.
yeah, Seagate Momentum. Those are both really good drives. I think the small ones are called Momentums,
Or
uh,
GoFlex. I don't know. I'll have to look at it, but
but they don't
oh
put that proprietary software on there because what happens so often, I'll go over to someone's home or business and they've got the Western Digital and they're using the Western Digital backup instead of Time Machine. And I'm a really big fan of Time Machine. So, gosh, that backup software is terrible. All right, so that's what I recommend is the Seagate GoFlex or the Seagate Momentum.
all right. And one other thing, did you hear about how Apple won the big case against
Yeah,
Samsung?
yeah, that's a pretty big deal. Apple got the settlement. It looks like the jury only took about 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, that's
Got the settlement over a billion, a little more than $1 billion.
gosh.
Basically, the court system says the design for the Samsung Galaxy and certain of the Galaxy phones were just
Yes.
too close to Apple's designs and awarded them copyright settlements. Huge.
And Apple's trying to get 8 of the new Samsung phones banned, or not new, but I read the article on Cult of Mac today that there are 8 phones. They're like the Galaxy, I think the Droid Charge, and they're trying to get the phones like banned in the U.S. I don't really see that happening though, because they already got $1 billion. I think it's pretty hard to ban a phone from being sold at all. Maybe get it changed.
Yeah, yeah. The Galaxy S3 is supposed to be a really good phone. I don't have one, but we want as Apple users the smart and responsible thing is we want competition. We need the Droid to succeed. We need Samsung to succeed. We need the Microsoft phone to succeed because
Mm,
good as those can be, that will mean that the iPhone will be better. If the
yes.
iPhone had no competition whatsoever, then it would just become stale, and there'd be really no reason to push ahead with anything. While I'm thinking about it, iOS 6 is right around the corner. Face,
Yes.
FaceTime over 3G is also right around the corner, and AT&T is going to have a little bit to
It's
say.
ridiculous though, because they make you get a whole new like plan, and it's like, yeah, you can have over 3G, but since it's a app that's built in, we'll charge you a new plan. I think that's just stupid. So Apple should make it an app in the App Store, so that way they don't have to deal with AT&T making you get a mobile family share plan.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's nothing's out really yet. I don't think that anything's been put down on paper, so we'll see. I'm one of those old grandfathered iPhone users from the past where I got the very first iPhone, so I have truly unlimited, and I'm sure that AT&T would be very happy for me to sign on the dotted line to be able to use FaceTime over their network, and I would forfeit my unlimited plan. So I know that's coming. Let's jump over to Joan here. Joan, what have you got this evening?
Nothing, just follow-up stuff from last week. I think I told you Werner has, the white plastic old computer,
Yeah,
the old,
right.
and we were thinking of either October, my birthday, or Christmas to get a new one. And I think Christmas is the wrong decision because you're going to be booked up for 6 months after Christmas.
Well,
So I'm assuming October would be a better choice.
don't base your buying opinion, your buying time on my availability. I'm usually about a week booked out. So just go, and if you want
Oh,
to book some
you
time,
know me, when I get it, I want it to work right away.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think I have a better chance in October than Christmas.
Well, before we get too far into it, the site that I really like, while macrumors.com is sort of a, rumor site, what's going on, nothing's verified, there is a wonderful page on MacRumors site called buyersguide.macrumors.com. If you go to macrumors.com and click on the buyer's guide section, this breaks down factually based information based on product cycles, and it says when is a good time to buy something. So if you think about it, like say for instance, the MacBook Pro just got recently updated. Its average product cycle, as you see here, is around 267 days. We're on the 77th day of the product cycle, so now is a great time to buy it. Uh, the iPad right now, we're 173 days in, 350 is the average, so about once a year. If we go down to the iMacs down here, you will see that the average is around 400 days. I'm sorry, that's the cinema display. Here we go. The average is 273 days, and there has not been an update in over a year and a half almost. So now, right this very second, is not a good time to buy an iMac. The better time would obviously be to wait until the new iMacs come out. So, Joan, to answer your question or to kind of address that, you might want to base your buying decision not necessarily on the holidays or whatnot, but just when the next iMac comes out. I myself, I'm in the market for a new iMac, but I'm not going to buy one anytime soon. So,
Okay, but Warner's is really starting to go down the tubes.
okay. Well, if you feel like you need it soon. So what are your options? You think you're going to buy it maybe?
You know, I prefer October because I know you'd have more free time.
Yeah. I'm. And if you want, another thing you could do, Joan, too, is when you're ready to buy it. Let's say you go to the Apple Store and you know you're going to go on a Thursday. Through 2 weeks before or a week before, you could go ahead and schedule me. And even if you don't buy it that day, I'm more than happy to have you cancel. I love cancellations. That means I get to have lunch. So if you want to schedule it and cancel, totally fine to do that.
Okay, and my other question, then help people that have important questions.
Oh, there's no such thing.
When you buy a new iMac now, I understand that iLife comes with it, even though I already have it. But what about Pages? I don't use the other two. Now, I have old discs, Work 08, I think I have, and I've updated over and over on, via Mountain Lion. But do you have to buy that again on a new Mac?
Well, let's talk about that. You mentioned Pages 08. Now that iWork, they called it, the iWork suite of Pages, Keynote, Numbers, those used to be released on discs. And we can see right here in the App Store, here is the iWork area right there. So we click on that. If you bought them, and I know you didn't, but I'm just mentioning this. If you bought them through the App Store, they are re-downloadable at any time on any other computer that you log into for about $20 a piece we see here. But you probably installed them on a disk. So there are two things that you could do, or three things really. You could think about moving to the newer version, iWork 09, which we're looking at here, although even those are long in the tooth and need to be updated. Or you could carry the install disk and install it on the new computer. Currently, Apple doesn't require a serial number for any of that. They just allow you to install, which is really convenient. Or you could back up or recover from your Time Machine. Your Time Machine drive is going to carry over the applications as well as the registration on the applications.
Right. That's where I honestly need your help.
Okay. And what might happen too is if we set the Time Machine recovery over to migrate the data over, it might take a long time. So it's the kind of thing where I might set and leave and then come back too later in the day. So because sometimes it takes 2 or 3 hours for all that data, depending on how much.
That would just be for my documents, right? Because I don't use the other two programs. I use iPages on both my iPad and my Mac. Warner doesn't use it at all.
Well, if you're recovering from Time Machine, it's going to pull everything over. So I would say install them. The new computer you have, the hard drive is going to be 3 times the size of what you're used to. So right. Don't buy them. If you want to buy the new product, only buy what you need. In your case, I think only Pages.
Okay, and that you do via the new App Store.
Yeah, and what's super nice then is all your purchases, even though Apple gets 30% of all these guys that are in this, all your purchases that you make under your Apple ID are with you, I'm hoping, for the rest of our lives, so that if you need to re-download something onto a new computer, you'll be able to by going into the App Store. And I'm trying to get access to my purchase content right now, and you can see. So there's some apps that I've bought. So if this is a new computer and I want to get my yoga app, I could click it and install it for free because I've already paid for it in the past. It's real nice.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Cheryl, you've been so patient and you got here just in time. What's going on this evening, Cheryl?
Oh, I'm just trying to follow you. I guess that was brought up, that Seagate Free Agent Go, is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, the Seagate free agent. Yeah, they brand them all different things, but as long as you're getting a Seagate branded drive or a Seagate brand drive, that's a good drive in my opinion. I really like those. Now,
And
every single, what am I going to say? Hard drive dies, right? And I
Hard
will,
drive.
yeah, I'll prove it. Here's a drive that died. Here's a drive that died. Here's a drive that died. Here's another
Here's
drive.
one.
Right, there's one. They all die, and no drive is safe. So what you've got to do is you have to have multiple drives and hope that you've backed up. And
okay.
a Seagate will die, a Western Digital drive will die. And the thing about the Western Digital drives, too, is that it's not the drive that dies; it's the plastic enclosures that die. The enclosures, those things normally are what break before the internal drives. But sure, what else did you have to ask about?
When do you use it and how do you use it?
When do you use an external or a backup drive? Is that your question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming, Cheryl, you're on a Mac right now, an Apple computer?
An iMac, yes.
Okay, great. Now, that iMac has a piece of software built into it called Time Machine. And I love Time Machine. I think it's fantastic because what it does is it allows people that are not used to having to deal with this whole backup thing, it gives them the ability to have all their entire computer's data backed up into another drive. And so if and or when your drive died on the internal computer, you could recover it from the backup drive. So let's take a look. In system preferences, this button that I'm talking about is called Time Machine, and it's right here. If I had a hard drive plugged up, then when I go to select Time Machine, it says, well, select a backup disk. And this is how easy it is. I select that backup disk, and then a list of drives would show up. Now, I don't currently have a drive connected to this computer, but a list of drives would show up, and you'd say, I want to back up to that drive. You select it, and then you hit Use Disk, and then you're done. So,
So should you use the Time Machine first and then? I've never used Time Machine either.
okay. Well, Time Machine is that software that I was talking about. Let me give you a better example here. I'm going to grab a drive. I've got one right here. So let's say you go to the store and you
When
buy
I
a hard
click on
drive.
it, when I
Sorry, say
click
that
on
again?
it, it says you haven't selected a location for Time Machine backups.
Do you already have a backup drive? I mean, do you already have a hard drive?
You mean that Seagate thing?
Yeah. Do you have one now?
Yeah, I have it and it's hooked up. It's been hooked up, but I haven't done anything with this and I've had it
Oh,
for a
good. Well,
year
then let's
now.
do this. Let's jump over to your screen and I'll
Mhm.
walk you through it and we can do that. So give me a second. You're going to see a request on your screen for us to be able to look at it, for us to
Okay.
show it. So when you
And
see that
speaking
screen,
of that, I was reading your newsletter things back, I think it was 2011, and it was talking about to be sure you're not on an open network or people can steal your stuff. Is this like considered an open network?
well, let's talk about that question. Well, actually, I guess we can talk about that question first before I connect to your computer and these other people see it. Uh, so to make you feel a bit better, what I mentioned in that newsletter a long time ago is it's not ever a good idea to connect to an unsecured Wi-Fi network. Now we're
So is this
using we're using a program to conference with each other called GoToMeeting. So only the people that I see in this meeting, which are Daryl, David, Joan, and yourself, myself, can see this. Now that doesn't mean that I can take your data. But what that does mean is right now on my desktop, you can see the files that I have on my desktop. You can't open them, you can't do anything with them,
okay?
but you can see that they exist. But
Okay.
to answer your question and kind of go back to that comment from a while back, if you have a laptop and you walk into say a Starbucks, what that Starbucks should be doing is saying our password, I mean our wireless network is
How
secure.
do I
It's
make
a
sure that?
it's a password protected network.
Mhm.
But oftentimes they don't. What they do is they just put up, they just have an open network where anyone can join that. That means if your computer is on the network and my computer is on the network, there are things as a bad guy that I could do to try to gain access to your stuff. But if the network is secured, if it has a password, then your computer moving the data between the router and the computer in what's called an encrypted manner, meaning that I could see that your computer's on the internet, but I can't see anything that you're doing. So even if we're on the same network and the network is password protected, we wouldn't really be able to see each other as easily. Does that make any sense at all? I don't know if I explained
I
that
think
well.
so. I mean, I don't ever go to a Starbucks or anywhere besides home, so
Yeah.
I should be safe, right?
Yeah, yeah. As long as you're in network, I mean, what you have to worry about is, let's say, if you live in an apartment complex where there are 15 or 20 wireless routers around, and 10 of them are password protected, but 3 or 4 of them are wide open. Okay, if you join that wide open network, then you are risking someone else being able to see what you're doing a lot more. There's a
I
lot bigger
believe
chance of
I
that.
have mine set at locked, but I don't
Yeah.
really know.
Good. All right. So we are now looking at Cheryl's screen, and we see that you've got some files. So why don't you just
Close.
yeah, close that away. Of course, I think that's an old newsletter or something. Now, what we want to
Yeah.
do
Uh,
is,
can I close that?
yeah, you can close
This.
everything except for GoToMeeting control panel.
Ugh.
Good. Right.
I just, uh,
Excellent.
so, so
And you
close
can hit
this
the red button on that one as well and close that. Okay.
and
Now, I see that you have a free agent drive connected to your computer over USB, and I see that by that yellow icon in the bottom left-hand area over there. Would you move your mouse and double click on that free agent drive over on the left-hand side of your computer?
this.
Yes, double click on that. And what we want to check on first is, do you have some data on there, because we're getting ready to erase this drive, and we don't want to
Oh,
erase something that's there.
I have a Vista laptop here and an XP computer here, and I was hoping all three were on this drive.
Well, let's take a look. Double click at that and open it up.
I double clicked it, didn't do anything.
Oh, hit cancel on that little window that you've got there right in front of you where Time Machine is
Oh,
saying, hey,
this.
you haven't done anything here. So double click that and let's take a look at what you've got. Okay, on this drive,
Because I didn't take advantage of them when I got
okay,
talked into buying the iMac.
that's
I
fine.
didn't I didn't take advantage of them pulling off the stuff from the other computers to this
Got it.
because I wasn't prepared for it.
Okay, so you got data on this drive, and we don't want to erase this drive. And I don't know if this data is important or not, but we're going to assume that it is very important.
Yeah.
So this drive, in order for Time Machine to work with a hard drive, Time Machine wants to format the drive in a way that the Apple computer can understand it. So if this drive was formatted for Windows, and it looks like it was probably,
Yeah.
then we don't want to use this drive unless we were ready to erase all that information. But let's say you have a choice, Cheryl, either, and I know we've got Ann that just popped in. We'll get to you in a second, Ann. So Cheryl, you either are going to make the decision to erase whatever's on this drive and use this as your sole iMac backup, because a Time Machine backup drive is not going to back up to the Mac and a Windows machine. Because as soon as you format that drive for the Mac, Windows is going to go, I don't know what this is. What is this thing? I don't understand it at all. So Macs can read Windows machines drives. Windows can't read Mac drives without doing some extra special stuff.
So for now, should I just use the Time Machine for the iMac?
Well, see, that's the thing. Time Machine is the software that's on your computer, but you need another piece of hardware. So either you give up the information on that free agent drive that we're looking at right now, and you say, I don't need that, I don't care about it, and then we start using Time Machine to back up to that drive, or you go get yourself another hard drive.
Okay. I'll get another one because I don't want to delete off of that because
Good.
until I figure out the Vista and the XP and get
That's right.
everything squared away.
That's right. Now, once you do it, it's very easy. Once you get your drive plugged in, you'll go to your system preferences. So let's just walk through it right now, but we won't do anything else. Let's go to the black apple in the top left-hand corner and go to system preferences. All right. And
You want me to close the free agent thing here?
you can. Yeah, that's fine. Now you're going to go to your Time Machine preferences on the fourth line. It might be covered up by your GoToMeeting control panel. And select Time Machine. Now, this is what's going to happen when you plug your new drive up. You're going to go to Time Machine, and you will see when you select disk.
Backup disk?
You'll see another drive on this computer. and then you'll select that drive, and then you'll hit to use for backup. Now, we don't want to use the free agent drive right now because you see that it's saying a reformat would be required, and that would mean that it would erase all that information. So we don't want to do that. But your new drive, this is what you would do. You can select the new drive, hit use for backup, and then Time Machine does everything in the background, and you don't have to worry about it ever really again. All right?
Okay.
Okay.
So don't use Time Machine at all right now either.
You can't until you get a new drive, unless you want to
Even
erase
if I
it.
unplug this? Even if I unplug this free agent?
That's right. If you unplug the free agent drive, then you have no hard drive connected to your computer. So if you have no hard drive connected to your computer, besides the one that's inside your computer, that is, if you have no external hard drive connected, Time Machine can't back up to anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a program, but it doesn't do anything.
Exactly right. That's right. It's a piece of software that writes the information onto another piece of hardware. Now, this is also, and we're going to close this out and we'll jump to Ann in a second, but this is also a really good time to talk about the long-term plan for backup. In my opinion, where I'm at with backup right now, the best way to do your backup, in my own opinion, is you have a Time Machine drive right next to your computer, and then you have a second Time Machine drive that is not in your house. And you bring that in from the neighbor's house or Grandma Edna's house every once in a while. You plug it up. Time Machine will back up to it. Now with the new Mountain Lion software, by the way, David, it backs up to 2 locations at the same time, which is really nice, or 2 drives. And then you get it out. Now, there are online backup services like Mozy, Carbonite, Jungle Disk, Crash Plan, but I'm not at the point where I can recommend those yet. Crash Plan is getting better. I like Crash Plan the most right now. Good for kids going to college who are not thinking and maybe not as responsible about backing up. But what I'm saying, Cheryl, is that you need 2 backups, because if there's a fire or somebody breaks into your house, they're going to take your iMac and they're going to take the hard drive next to it. So if you have a second hard drive that is not in your house, then you have a lot less chance of losing things. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Yeah. Scary, but yeah.
But for now, just go get yourself another drive and use that as your backup drive through Time Machine. All right?
Okay.
All right, I'm going to jump up to Ann. We'll have some time to go around to everybody again. Ann, what's popping this evening? What have you got? Ann, are you with us?
Sorry, I had to unmute. Sorry.
That's fine. Okay, Ann, what you got this evening?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, I have a couple of things, so if I can do 1 or 2 now, then come back, that's fine. But my daughter, they use my computer right now, and when they load their photos to iPhoto, and then they want to share them on Facebook, but Facebook will only share to my account, my Facebook account, and they want to share it to their own for my photos. So how can they?
You're set as the default user.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Give me just a second. What, Sasha? Yeah. But if they start barking, send them back out for me. So yeah, what we're talking about here, and is that within iPhoto, you have a set of settings in your preferences here. If you go to iPhoto preferences, you have, I don't want to update, you have accounts. And you can apply different accounts to these things. For instance, if you hit the plus sign, you got a Facebook account. I don't know the answer whether or not within this area you can set up to multiple Facebook accounts. I don't think that you can.
What if you can change it?
You could give it
Can
a
you
try.
change it?
Yeah, you certainly can, but that means that you're not going to be able to use to automatically publish your pictures through iPhoto up to Facebook.
But I mean,
change
like,
it
to just
every
change it every time.
No, it's not going to be convenient, because at the very bottom in the left-hand corner of iPhoto over here, you're going to have a set of synced folders that are going to sync to either your account of Facebook or your daughter's account of Facebook. Here's the smarter thing overall, I think, to do. And of course, the first thing you want to try, and like I said, I just don't know the answer to this, is try to set up in your settings for iPhoto a second Facebook account. I don't know if you can set up a secondary Facebook account, but try that first.
Where would that be?
If you go inside iPhoto, you go to the word iPhoto in the menu bar, and you go down to Preferences. When you get to that, you want to look at Accounts. So I only have a me.com email address set up in this just to send out, but I could set up the ability to send up to Flickr automatically or to publish to Facebook. I'm not a Facebook user, so I don't push that up there. But I don't know
Yeah.
whether.
It does.
Go, say again.
It looks like it might.
It does. Yeah, it wouldn't
Does it?
Yeah.
If it does, then there's your answer. If verify it. Do you want us to take a look on your screen, or do you think you feel good that it actually does? I don't have 2 Facebook accounts to sign into, so I couldn't test it if I wanted to.
What is that?
It's fine.
Yeah, I think it did. What are these?
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so then when you share,
It's
you'll be able to,
saying like the published album blank has been removed. It keeps saying a couple of those, but
That's
Yeah, I
fine
think
because of the
that-
font.
I think you
That's
can.
okay.
Yes, yeah, that works. So
All
now
right.
she can figure it hers.
Thank you.
Well, if that's too cumbersome, if it doesn't work right, there are other options that make basically, I would say, with 2 different users, 2 different iPhoto libraries, but
Yeah.
hopefully that'll work. Good.
Well, the other at some point I want to talk to you about getting a new Mac, and I might be turning this one over to her and
Mhm.
and whatever. So
Yeah.
do I need to? Should we move on to someone else and come back to me for my?
No,
next
let's hit
question?
that. Let's hit that as well. So yeah, you would just want to talk about buying a new iMac. You're in that same market as Joan was in, I believe, earlier.
Okay.
Is
I'm
that
sorry.
right? When are you looking to make this purchase?
Well, sooner rather than later, but someone was telling me today that the MacBook Pro is kind of on its way out in terms of technology, and the Air, and then also that new screen thing is on its way in, and I'm just wondering how soon. I mean, I definitely like the smallness of the Air.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure I have, the speed and capacity and whatnot of a full computer.
Yeah. So
Pro.
your computing life is really broken down into 3 choices of categories for the most part. People that are looking for the big tower, like the Mac Pro, that's not normally us. We're not in that category. And people that are looking for a Mac Mini, that's also not really us in our discussion here.
Oh, I'm definitely a laptop. It's either
Yeah.
the Air or the MacBook Pro.
Okay, so that breaks you down into 3 categories: either a desktop like an iMac, a laptop portable like a MacBook Air or MacBook Pro, or an iPad. And in about 4 years from now, the iPad will be a lot stronger choice. But right now, we're going to leave that out. Right now, parents are not sending their kids to college with an iPad. They're sending them with laptops. Just like 4 or 5 years ago, they sent them with a desktop. In 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, they will send them with an iPad, and that'll be all they use. But for now, we have the breakdown of either a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air. So if you have 2 choices here, and there's gives and there's advantages and disadvantages to both. With the MacBook Air, it is a very, very thin, light computer. The screen is smaller at 11 inches or 13 inches. I have a 17-inch right here. I mean, sorry, an 11-inch right here, which is very, very small. And it's more of it's more like a glorified iPad, honestly, to me. So I don't know if the 11 inches is the way to go with anybody, a kid that being their only computer. It's more of somebody like myself that I got 1,000 computers and there's one extra one just to do fun stuff with. So I kind of rule out the 11-inch. So that brings us to the 13-inch MacBook Air or the 13-inch MacBook Pro. The 13-inch MacBook Air has a smaller hard drive, but a solid-state hard drive, which means its failure rate is a lot better than the spinning, larger capacity MacBook Pro. If you look at the prices right next to each other, the 13-inch MacBook Pro here at the low-end 13-inch is $1199. You get a 500 gig, a 5400 RPM drive versus the MacBook Air that the 13-inch, you get half the storage capacity for $300 more.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think that anybody that's in that market, the sort of the kid market or whatever,
No, this is for me. This is for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you got to have. Go ahead.
She gets this Mac.
Yeah. So for yourself, you're either going to go with the high-end MacBook Air that's 1,500 before tax at a 256 gig hard drive. If you go to the MacBook Pro, then you have a choice of going to the 15-inch. Now, the Retina display is beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. Their new MacBook Pro has no optical drive, so there's no way to put a disk into it. You would have to borrow remotely from another disk to do that if there was definitely some piece of software you had to put
Wait,
in.
which one?
The 15-inch, the flagship. Now, the 2700 15-inch is called a Retina display. So
Is that the Air or the
that's the MacBook Pro. Now,
Okay.
since the MacBook Pro Retina display is also a niche audience. It's not really for someone that says, "Hey, I'd like a new computer." Not at this point because of its price. You're not going to notice if you've never used a Retina display for a month. You're not. I'm not using a Retina display. I don't have a Retina display on any of my computers right here, and I'm perfectly happy.
Yeah, that's not really as important to me. What's important to me, I mean, if you did log on to me right now, like, how does one of those compare to what I have now? Like,
Well, a
I mean, I
15
think I have 500 something of hard drive space.
Yeah, let's jump over and take a look. So I'm going to
Okay.
send a request over to you for us to look at your screen, and when you see that, let's allow it. Now you're on an iMac, and so comparing an iMac to a laptop is a very different thing. You have a lot more screen space on.
No, I'm on a laptop.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, I have
Oh,
a 5-year-old laptop, but
got it. Okay.
Four and a
So
half.
if you will close that window, that's that first Safari window. Yeah, the one over red button far left hand corner.
that one.
No, there's your actual Safari window. That's the one. Yeah, let's get rid of that.
Sorry.
Now, somewhere.
It's asking me to leave the meeting.
No, we don't want to do that. That's not the one we want. Just cancel
Can I
that.
minimize it? Can I minimize it?
Wish I could figure it. Can we minimize it? Yeah, definitely minimize. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, see where it says Macintosh HD, the icon on the desktop there. Click that one time. Now go Command I, and that'll give us information about this hard drive. Command I.
All right.
Hold the Command key down. It's also the Apple key next to the space bar if it's an older computer. All right, so you have a 500 gig drive, and you've used about half of that space. So if you just went to a MacBook Air, you only have 256 gigs really as the stock one. So that's not really a choice for you.
Yeah.
That kind of puts you into the MacBook Pro category. Then you break down into, do I want a 13-inch MacBook Pro or the 15-inch MacBook Pro?
I definitely want to me, smaller is better.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
if you get the 13-inch MacBook Pro, you could also increase the hard drive. You could have Apple do it. So the hard drive space, you can kick it up to like a 750 gig hard drive. The trick with hard drives is the larger the capacity of the drive, the slower it goes generally. So if you
Yeah,
have
this one is like antique-y slow.
really
Mine is like extremely slow.
if you have a 500 gig, let's say a 500 gig 7200 RPM drive, that's a fast drive. But a 750 gig hard drive that runs at 5400 RPM, that's more capacity but slower. So I always go with the drive that spins faster, the 7200 RPM drive. Even if I don't get as much space, I know that my performance is just a little bit better. There are drives that are 10,000 RPM. I don't really go to those drives too much. I'm just kind of an old-fashioned. I'm just a little scared of them right now myself. So
Yeah, I've just done this. I can't. There's all these different numbers, and so you're throwing them out at me, and I'm not really
understood. I'm sorry.
understanding
Well,
them.
let's walk through it right now. So if you go to store.apple.com or Apple Store there, and
Are you on my screen?
yeah, I can see.
Um,
You can all see your
Pro,
screen right now.
right?
So now go to the MacBook Pro.
Okay.
We're just all shopping tonight.
Can you still see my screen too?
I can only see Anne's screen right now. Once we leave one meeting, we can only see one screen at a time. So we all should be looking at Anne's screen, and we all should be able to see that she's shopping for a new computer. All right. So if you stay at the 13, so, and if you're happy with the 13-inch and you don't want the 15, then you're going to go up a little bit to those two 13s. So from here, you have a choice. $14.99. You have a 750 gig, 5400 RPM drive. But let's just pretend we're going to buy that for a second. Let's say let's say you go with the 2.9 gigahertz. So go down and hit the select button. We're not going to buy anything. We can shop all day. And we can configure that. All right, so let's scroll down. Now, look at the different choices in hard drive, the very first choice that you have.
Right.
The one that they give you for $14.99 is a 750 gig drive that spins 5,400 rotations per minute.
The
All right.
solid state is so much more.
It is a crazy amount more. That's right, but for much less space. So, in my personal opinion, I would rather have a faster spinning drive. And this is one of the things that I have gotten mad about Apple in the last couple of months is they don't offer you a 7,200 RPM spinning drive. What they're doing here and is they're trying to push everyone to solid state drives in the future.
But I mean, that's what we all want. I mean, like, are they? If I buy this computer now in January or December, are they going to come out with the new version of the MacBook Pro that comes standard with the solid state drive?
It's funny that you say it that way. The Retina display, the 15-inch Retina, does come with a standard solid state drive. The two lower class, let's call them 15-inch computers that they offer, you get come standard with a spinning drive. So we are in a transitional period where spinning is going away, but solid state is coming in. The problem is solid state is still so new and so expensive that it's not exactly what most of us want quite yet. So Apple again is still pushing they're really pushing up on this. They're pushing us to something that we don't really need quite yet. So the question is, can you get away with a 256 gig flash drive without spending lots of money? The answer is, with the amount of data that you have on your computer right now, no, you can't. So either...
So like,
go
do you
ahead.
see where I am now, though? Why wouldn't I just want to go to like the 8 gig Air with a 512? Oh, because that adds a lot more.
Yeah, now you're spending $2,000 on an 11-inch computer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's my point exactly, is that flash is still really expensive. So now Apple seems to think, I'm not speaking for the company, but they seem to think that everything is going to move into the cloud in the future. And we can all agree that that's going to happen. Okay, your music no longer has to be stored on your computer, because if you pay iTunes Match, you pay $25 a year, your music lives up. Basically, you're not storing your music in the cloud. They're allowing you to re-download at any time the music that you already had through iTunes in the first place. So
that's what I want to do, because like my daughter and I share an iTunes account. We have similar tastes in music and we share music, and so I prefer that. And then the other thing is like part of the reason this thing is so full is she's constantly, making videos and uploading photos, and
right.
Once all that
you just hit the two big sore spots here with the cloud. The cloud controls your contacts, your calendars, your documents, your Excel spreadsheets, your PowerPoint presentations, your music, because really they're not using any space for that. You can put 10,000 Bibles on a flash drive, maybe not literally, but you can put a lot of text on a flash drive. So Apple's going to give you plenty of storage space, and Dropbox is going to give you plenty of storage space for those things. But no company right now is going to store your photos for you and all your movies for you that you've made. That would, think of all the storage space that would cost for them to buy for you to have access to that stuff. So we still need big hard drives to store our videos and our pictures, because we can't store those in the cloud and use them all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but what if I had like I've got my little timeline and my little Apple thing, I forgot what it's called, that I back up to.
Time machine, yeah.
Yeah. Can I access that and just bring back a photo album or a photo event or something?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question, and it's important that anybody listening understand this answer. Your Time Machine backup is not a storage drive. That data on that Time Machine is a temporary holding place. It is, and it's going to go away. Let's say if you delete a file on your desktop, and you think tomorrow, oh gosh, I've deleted that file, I need to go get it back from Time Machine. You could do that. And then a week later, you say, oh gosh, I forgot that file, I need to go get it back from Time Machine. You can do that. A year later, you go, oh gosh, I forgot that file. I need to go get it back from Time Machine. It's very possible that Time Machine will have made the decision within the year. You know what? She deleted this a year ago. We need to free up space for other stuff. Let's delete it. So it takes it off of there. So Time Machine is not a backup. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not a storage area. All right.
Uh-huh.
So I think maybe where you're going, Ann, you could buy, and I'm sorry we're sticking on this so much. I'm going to get off of this. We're going to go round robin through this again in a second, but this will be the last thing I say. And you could buy any size hard drive laptop that you wanted, as long as you dedicate to yourself to do what I do and what maybe other people do. And that is when you want to look at your pictures. Now, this is ugly. This is not really a beautiful drive, but when you want to look at your pictures, you plug up the drive that's got your storage pictures on it. Not a Time Machine drive. This is my media drive. So in other words, I'm walking around with a 128 gig hard drive right now. That's because I have a terabyte drive that I plug up to. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
So if I could get the Air with just 128.
And buy a
And
storage
that.
drive. Yeah, buy a storage drive. And this
How much
storage
is
drive
that?
also has to be being backed up to another drive because this is not a backup. This is a storage drive. That's a backup. Does that make sense?
How do you back up a storage drive?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you plug them both into your Air and back up from one to the other?
Yes.
Like, how do you Time
Yes.
Machine?
Yes.
They'd have to have its own Time Machine.
Yes. So the target Time Machine drive has to be your internal drive plus this drive, equals that drive. All right.
So I'd do 2 Time Machines and the external drive if I had the Air.
Yeah, pretty much.
One to back up my Air and one to back up
No.
my external hard drive.
No. One drive to back up both your external drive and your internal drive, and one drive to do the exact same thing I just said, and you get it out of the house. So that if somebody breaks into your house and they steal your Air and your media drive and your backup drive, you can go back to the neighbor's house and get that drive, and it's got the same data on it.
Okay. All right.
All right.
When I buy my new one, can you like wipe this one and
Yeah.
get it ready for my party?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. All right, I'm going to jump off of you, Ann, here. We've spent a long time.
Okay.
I'm sorry we pushed everybody up a little bit too long. All right, Daryl, you're back at the top. You got anything on your mind, Daryl?
Yeah,
Or
I'm
anything?
over on your website and it says previous town halls and it says subscribe.
Interesting.
What's that about?
I don't know. I ain't seen that yet. You can do another thing here, Daryl, too, and give me a little feedback here. If you go to my site, I'll just do it here. I'm thinking about, or obviously we want to archive these town halls, and I want other people to be able to kind of go through, and eventually the technology is going to be there where I can run a program and it will write down, basically dictate everything that we're saying right now into a transcript, which will be searchable. That will be great. But right now, if you go to my website, salesconsulting.com, and click on town halls, what he's looking at is, I think, a YouTube embedded feed. I've tried this a couple of different ways. Daryl, if you also go to, let me see, salesconsulting.com/old town halls. This is not published right now, but it's another area, another way I'm trying to do it. This would be me hosting my own data. I don't want to host my own data because each one of these town halls is about, it's about 100 megs. So I'd rather push it up to YouTube, which makes a lot more sense. But to answer your question, what does that subscribe? That is subscribing YouTube to my YouTube channel.
Okay, go to the first one and click more information. That one right there.
Yeah,
See where it says subscribe.
Yeah, that's subscribed to the YouTube, the Sales Consulting YouTube channel.
Okay, gotcha. All
Yeah.
right. Number two.
Yeah.
Number two. Did you say that the new MacBook Pro doesn't have a CD drive?
The Retina display does not.
Ooh, you like that?
It's the future. Yeah. I don't mind giving up my CD drive. I have a 17-inch, as you've seen. I've never used a CD drive ever. So, yeah, I say good riddance.
Okay. And next Monday Labor Day, Scotty. What are you going to do?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that yet. I would probably say I won't be online next Monday. I would rather be on my sailboat next Monday, sailing around the ocean.
Or you going to post that? Post that for us?
I will. I will do my best to promise that. You know, I am. I need a secretary. Yeah, check the
I
check.
think Joan offered, but you didn't take her
I
up on it.
did, but he turned me down.
I know.
Joan, you want to move in with me? That way you can be my secretary.
I can only work from home.
I don't think she'd leave Warner, Scotty.
Yeah.
You know.
That's fine. All right,
Do
Joan, did you have?
Do
Sorry,
you have
Joan,
an
did you have
email
something?
list where you email people of like when you're going to be doing them?
No, generally, I took some time off. I took several months early in the year off, but now I'm back, and I'm here every Monday, unless something happens where I have a client run over or whatever. But I dedicate my Monday night at 7 to 8 to town hall, so I'm
I
here
see
most.
on your website it says every Monday, and I guess it looks like possibly Wednesday at 7 p.m. too.
Yeah, I tried that for a while. It was just too much. I've tried to take Wednesday off everywhere, but I just now see, and you pointed out, I didn't take Wednesday off of everywhere. On the top title there, I got to take that back off. So thanks for pointing out my flaws for me. But yeah, I'll try to get that off, but only Mondays. And
Okay,
yeah, Joan, take it.
I'm confused after your conversation with the previous lady. I thought my photos were up in the cloud, that if I bought a new computer, I'd be able to bring them back down or via my iPad and send them.
No, that's one of the top things that I deal with everybody that I'm working with right now. Everybody thinks that iCloud, and I'm not aiming this at you, Joan, by any means. This is Apple's kind of made people think this. Everybody thinks that the word iCloud means all my stuff is up in the cloud now and it's saved and I never have to back up, and that is wrong. What you're thinking of, Joan, is iCloud's photo streaming service. The photo
Right.
streaming service is really the last 30 days of your pictures. And the photo stream service is really just a little small holding point that when you take a picture on your phone, that picture, as soon as the phone goes to a wireless network, that picture goes up to iCloud and it lands in iPhoto over here, it lands on your iPad over here, but on the 31st day of that picture's existence, it leaves the iPad. And on the 31st day of that picture,
on iPhoto.
and it stays in the iPhoto library. That's correct. But it leaves the photo stream area of iPhoto. So iCloud is not a permanent saving point for your pictures. It's only a temporary moving point for pictures. Does that
So
make
I still would need like a FireWire
FireWire for what? What do
to
you do?
move everything to a new computer.
Oh, yeah. When you buy your new computer and you have your old computer, you could do it lots of different ways. If you're using Time Machine to back up, you could just restore the new computer from the
I
old
am, but
computer.
it's just doing its thing. It's all working,
Good.
but I don't know how to get that onto another computer.
Well, you can do this
That's why I
yourself.
need your help.
No, you actually don't, Joan. You're smart enough to do this on your own. I mean, I'll be happy to help you, and I'd love it because that's how I make my living. But I would suggest you try this. When you buy your new computer, you take your old backup drive, the one that's been plugged up through Time Machine to your old
Now,
computer.
I have a WD passport.
That's fine.
Is that
Yeah, that's fine. And
Okay.
it's a USB drive.
Yes.
So when you boot the iMac for the first time you start it up, the first question it's going to ask you is, what language do you speak? And you're going to say English. The second question it's going to ask you is, do you have a Time Machine drive? Because we could back up, we could pull everything over from the Time Machine drive. So you say yes, plug it up, and it goes, oh, is this Warner's computer? Because he had a backup from this. And you say yes. And it says, we'll pull everything over from Warner's computer. We'll pull the applications, all of his documents, his email, everything. So it's really very, very simple. Okay?
Got a question. What
Yes.
the heck is this iCloud you guys are talking about?
Okay.
And I
So
hear something about snow leopard. What the heck is all this?
understood. iCloud, that is a very big word. And what iCloud is Apple and other companies like Google and Microsoft, they all have their own versions. Is this Cheryl that asked this question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. People are mentioning to me about snow leopard, which I have no clue what they're talking about.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about iCloud for a moment. Everybody walks around with these smartphones, right? Some people have an iPhone. Some people have a Droid. Nowadays, the technology has changed so much that if you walk into a store and you buy a new phone, you get a brand new phone, and the guy puts in the SIM card and he hands you the phone. Nowadays, with these cloud services, you can put in your account. If you have a Gmail account and you're using a Droid, you can put your email account in and your password, and all of a sudden, all your email is on your phone. All of your contacts are on your phone. A lot of the pictures that you might have stored through Picasa, if you're using Google's services, would be on your phone. Your calendar would be on your phone, and you're still in the store. Now, back in the old days, you used to have to come home and plug it up to a cable, and that information would move from your computer over to your phone. But now, Apple has something they call iCloud. Google has their own services. Microsoft has something they call SkyDrive. They're all these, but they're all the same thing. And what it is Apple is saying, hey, Cheryl, come with us. Store all of your contacts in our server back over at our headquarters. Store all of your calendars in our server. Don't put them, they don't need to be on your computer. They'll be on your computer, but we want a copy of them. Because if we have a copy of them, when you buy a new phone, we'll just put it all here automatically. And that's really nice. It's very easy. Does that make sense a little bit so far?
So cloud doesn't mean nothing to me if I just have a regular old cheap cell phone, not a Droid or not a smartphone or iPhone.
That's right. And if you only have one computer, then the whole cloud concept is not as appealing right now. So, but one day, Cheryl, you're going to have a smarter phone. I know you will. And one day you might have an iPad. And if you have an iPad,
I do have an iPad, and I don't know. I hate it. I don't know how to use it. Every time I try to use it, it doesn't do anything I want it to do. All I can do is check email and search the internet. That's it.
What is something that you want to do on that iPad that you can't do?
First, I want to figure out the iMac.
Okay, understood. All right. Yeah. Well, I bet, Cheryl, in the long run, I bet you will discover, and if you hang out with us here on these Monday nights long enough, I bet you will discover some things that your iPad does and that your computer does that you didn't know that they did. And
going to a website, it always constantly, like I can't even look at the weather radar because it doesn't accept Adobe Flash.
That's true. That's true. And everybody listening here now knows how I feel about
the
Flash.
Websites I go to won't accept because of Flash.
Yeah.
I have Photon, which turns it into Flash.
Yeah.
It doesn't work great, but it.
And Cheryl, what Joan just mentioned is sort of a workaround with this problem that you're experiencing. But you have to know this about Joan, Cheryl. Joan's a very advanced user, and she's always mucking around with stuff.
Not compared to your men.
No, yeah, she is. Don't let her fool you. She plays I don't know nothing about any of this stuff, and then she breaks out with, I'm using Photon to substitute Flash on the iPad. But there are services, and you're right, Cheryl. You just hit on one of the decisions that Apple made was to own the iPad and the iPhone was to not support Flash. And in a lot of ways, it was a good decision because Adobe has already come out and said, you know what, we know people don't like Flash, so we're stopping supporting of it on mobile devices as it is. So there is no more mobile Flash. Adobe is pulling that out. So these companies like weather.com or whatever company or website that you go to that's still using that Flash technology, they know that Flash is dead. And they are right this very second rewriting their websites to use as an alternative to Flash that will work on the iPad.
What is an alternative?
It's called HTML5. And it's nice, and it's got a lot of advantages over Flash. The main reason, it runs better, it is less buggy, it's a lot more stable. It's also open source. And what that means is if I'm a website designer and I want to use Flash, right now I have to pay a program that has a licensing fee to be able to use Adobe's technology. But if I use the same website and I want to put video together and I don't want to use Flash and I want to use HTML5 instead, I don't have to pay anything because
you have to know how to write HTML files, though, right?
That's right. Just like they have to know how to write Flash as well. So
well, no, there's websites out there that you don't know how to. You don't have to.
Is now available.
Sorry, say that again, Cheryl. Say that other websites that what?
Like a lot of the websites now, like Wix and say Webs.com, you can do Flash websites without having to know how to write HTML. It does it for you. So
yeah, it's not as complicated as you're thinking it is. Actually, here's a good example. A real great example is a site creator like Squarespace. All right, Squarespace.com is a site that people can go to and create their own websites, just kind of like what you're talking about. And it's really as easy as if you are building a website and you have a video that maybe you want to put on your website, you can drag that video and drop it into Squarespace. Like I'm trying to build a website right now, so I'm going to start with this template. All right. So once I get through all that and I get to the next piece, then I could just drag and drop a file in, and it's not going to use Flash. It's going to do all the coding for you. So it's a good thing in the long run, but it is a little bit painful. Here's a great example, Cheryl, of the pain that we're going through with Flash dying right now. And it is dying. The web is absolutely, Flash is leaving the web. It is a fact. Flash is written by Adobe, and Adobe, when if you look at Steve Jobs' biography or whatnot, he mentions that we didn't want to have anything to do with Flash because we didn't want to rely on another company to pay licensing fees for their technology. So we're going to use HTML5. But Flash then got in with Android and Google, and they said, "Hey, Apple won't support Flash. Will you support Flash?" And Android, who is made by Google, Google makes Android phones. Android said, "Yes, we'll support Flash." So the Android phones, they allowed this Flash video to happen on their phones. Well, when Adobe canceled Flash, these Android phones, the newest ones, the brand new phones that have just come out, they won't run Flash. So in the Olympics this past year, all these big, I don't know if you ever heard of a swag bag where these people will go and they'll kind of schmooze around backstage, and you get these bags full of all these awesome, like at the Academy Awards, the Oscars, whatever, these big entertainers will get these big swag bags, and sometimes they'll have iPads or iPods. Well, this year at the Olympics, the swag bag was a new Droid phone, the brand new Droid phone. They pull it out. They go, "Oh, wow, this is awesome. We can watch all the Olympics events that were being broadcast in Flash." But their newest phone that they got from the Olympics would not allow them to see the Olympics in Flash. So it's going away. And Cheryl, in a year from now, I bet you in a year from now, it'll be hard to find a website that doesn't work on the iPad.
Okay.
All right, because it's a juggernaut.
Because I guess a salesperson was trying to talk me into trading in my iMac and the iPad for a laptop.
What?
Yeah.
What salesperson are we talking to here, Cheryl? We got you just in time. We've saved you. Who are you talking to?
That's the thing. They jumped me into getting this iMac at a bad time, so I lost the year free support. And now I don't want to jump into anything ever again.
Oh, I understand. Well, have you and I worked together, Cheryl?
Never.
Okay.
Actually, you were recommended by oh God, I forget his name, but he's somewhere up in Chicago.
Do you live in Charlotte? Where?
Kannapolis.
Oh, okay, in Kannapolis. All right. Well, yeah, you found a great place to come on those Monday nights, and we can talk through things. Tonight I hogged a lot of the conversation. I end up doing that a lot, but you'll start to realize, Daryl is a regular and Joan's a regular. A lot of people come in and out, but Cheryl, we'd love to have you every Monday night. You're exactly the kind of person that I want to do this for. And these other people can tell you the Mac is a wonderful computer. It's just right now it sounds like you're really frustrated with the things that are not going the way you want them to go. Is that correct?
Well, it's slowing me down work-wise, big time. And I mean, I'm sitting here, I got a Vista laptop, I got this iMac, and I've got a Windows XP, and I can't work with all three of them. I had a guy come in that supposedly worked for Mac and worked for Windows, and when he got here, I could tell right off the bat I knew more about Mac than him, and I don't know crap about Mac.
Got it.
So he screwed up my printer. My printer will not recognize my Vista anymore or my XP.
Okay.
And it only will do certain things with the Mac now, and so I don't want him ever touching my Mac again.
Understood. Daryl, Daryl, what did you
Cheryl, this is Daryl. I went cold turkey off of PCs a year and 3 months ago, Scotty. Something like that. Got rid of all my PCs, went to Mac, bought a program called Parallels. So there's some insurance products that I can't run on a Mac. So I run them on Parallels, which is a Windows virtual machine from my Mac. And I'm perfectly happy. There's nothing I can't run. I've had Scotty out a couple of times, and you definitely found the right place to come. And I recommend you have Scotty come out, and he'll fix all your problems.
I agree with Daryl. We also went cold turkey 5 years ago and moved from PCs to Macs, and would never ever go back to PCs. And Scotty's been a big help.
That's my goal, but
Yeah.
I
And-
can't.
And
Work.
Cheryl, what Daryl brought up a really good point. He mentioned a program that he uses called Parallels, and what that program does, it runs on your computer, and what it does is it allows you to run Windows on your Mac while you're running your Mac. So if you wanted to open up Windows, it would be just like opening up your address book list, or you're opening up a program, a Safari or anything, except when you do that, you're opening up Windows. So you don't actually have to have a separate computer eventually. So I think what Daryl's kind of laid out here is the path that you will eventually get to. If you have this nice new Mac, did you just buy this new Mac recently?
A year and a half ago.
Year and a
So
half
that
ago.
Mac told me I can't even pay support. They said I have to buy a whole new computer in order to get support.
That's all right. So you've been really misinformed, I think. Where did you
Every
buy?
time I
Where
go-
did you buy this computer?
In Charlotte at the Sharon Road or something like that.
Okay, so the Apple Store
no.
there. All right.
Yeah.
So what I think there might be a misunderstanding there. Apple Care is the service that Apple offers that basically is sort of like an extended warranty. If you buy your computer, the very first day you buy it, the clock starts ticking for 90 days of phone support. If you buy their extended coverage, they call Apple Care, then that extends that phone support for 3 years.
Right, but I didn't do it, and they said I had to do it at the time I bought the computer.
You have to
And
do
now
it
it's too
within the first year of the purchase.
Right, and I didn't, and so now they said it's too late.
Okay, but that's okay because now you found us, and this is free. Every
Right.
Monday night is free. So the way and you've not met me, Cheryl, and this is fine. The way that I make my living is I go to people's homes and businesses and work with them in their homes. So,
Right.
but I do these Monday nights.
But I think I'm going to have to do that. I'm just a little bit fearful after having that last guy come here.
You don't even.
Don't be afraid.
No, you don't.
Afraid of Scotty.
You don't need to even hire me. I'm not asking for that. Just come to our Monday nights right here, just like you found the night. This is wonderful, and we'll slowly get through your questions. And as you see, I've ignored Daryl a lot, and I ignored Joan a lot in these meetings because they've been around forever here, and when they see somebody come in that's kind of deer in the headlights, so to speak. I actually hit a deer in Kannapolis last year on the way to a client, but. That we want to embrace you. We want to pull you in and make you feel more comfortable about your choice. You got it, Cheryl?
Scotty, come over to me and show her my Windows side.
Okay. All right. So we're going to take a look at Daryl's here. Let's see.
So, well, does that, when you go to, like what Daryl's talking about, does that bring up your programs that you've purchased in your Windows?
It can. You could move them over. Daryl, I think I just sent the... Yeah, so we're looking at Daryl's. Daryl, close that out for a moment and kind of show her from scratch a little bit so that she understands. So we're looking at Daryl's screen right now. And did
How
you
I load it? Can you see the Windows side?
Yeah, give me just a second. And did you have another question coming up here?
I do when you.
Okay,
I
all right.
think it's a quick one.
We'll wrap up on this and we're going to get back over to you in a second.
Here's QuickBooks. Here's an Access database program that's something else that we do for databasing. Here's an insurance product right here. Here's SQL Server that we run on here. So we run all the programs that can be possibly run on a Windows machine,
And
right on the Mac.
yeah, he's running
So
this
Sarah,
on.
you do QuickBooks for Windows, but you just do it on your Mac? Because that is awesome. Because I miss QuickBooks. I've fallen down on Money Minute.
I mean, I have two screens, which a lot of people don't have, but I have two screens. Let me just show you this. You like this. This is Windows, okay? And then here would be. Well, let me move it over.
Like you have two monitors.
Yeah.
I have two monitors, but there's my mail. Okay. There's Windows on one side, and you can copy and paste from one side to the other.
So you're running QuickBooks for not QuickBooks, but Quicken.
No, I'm running QuickBooks. It's a business
Oh,
business
all right,
part.
never mind. Because I can do. I just log into my work desktop for QuickBooks, but like, could I get Quicken for Windows and like download, my bank stuff and
You need two other things. You need Parallels, which was what this is.
How do you spell that?
Now,
And then you'd need a Windows program. Then you could load Quicken.
so let me back up and kind of clarify that. You can, and he's exactly right. You need two things to make this happen. If you want to run QuickBooks on a Windows machine,
Quicken is what I meant.
that's fine. But you want to run the Windows version of Quicken, right? Not the Mac version of Quicken.
Right.
All right. So you have to have a copy of Microsoft's Windows Vista or Windows XP or Windows 7 or now Windows 8 coming out really soon. So you have to actually have a CD copy, a physical copy of that. The second, well, it's not exactly true, but for our purposes, you need a copy of it, a physical copy. The second thing that you have to have is a program that he's mentioning, or a program like he's mentioning, that's called a virtualization software. He's using one called Parallels. There is another one called VMware. VMware. I personally like VMware a little bit more, so I'm kind of stopping Daryl and sticking in my 2 cents for VMware. I think VMware is a little bit easier to use. They're both competitive. They do exactly the same thing, and that is allow you to run Windows on your Mac. VMware,
All right. Well, if
Parallel.
I get a new Mac, that's something we can talk about.
Yeah, I have a lot of clients that do what Daryl does, and that is run Quicken on QuickBooks in Windows on their Mac.
Do you want? Can I ask my question now?
Yeah, take it.
Okay. Under you showed me this once before. Under calendar, I have a calendar that I call Girls, and I shared it with both my daughters, and one of them, got it and accepted it, and but the other one just doesn't seem to be getting an invitation or something on her iPhone. So I'm trying to figure out how to.
Okay, so which is the person that, out of Carter and GB and Mason, which is the person that does not have a communication yet with you with this calendar?
Carter, the one at the top of this list.
Okay, now, does Carter have an iCloud account?
Yes.
Okay, so what I would suggest is we select them, minus them out, re-add them again. So click them.
But Carter, isn't your iCloud account your AOL? Yeah. Okay. Her iCloud account.
Okay, then send it to the iCloud account. And is Carter in the room nearby?
Yeah, I've got her phone right in front of me too.
Okay, you can just use the phone then. That's fine.
All right, update or?
Yes, please. Now check her phone for in her iCloud email, which is going to be that AOL email. She uses AOL as an email address.
Well, that's kind of like she really uses her Gmail, and that AOL one was her old one, and it's like where she gets all her junk stuff. But when she set up her iCloud account, she set it up with the AOL.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can she change that?
You can get a new iCloud account. That's what you'd have to do. But she's probably
go
going
to her mail.
Yeah, if she has her AOL mail set up on the phone, that's probably where that request went.
Do you have your AOL mail on this? Or she doesn't have that on her phone because it's like where she gets all her catalogs,
Yeah, that's what I would then do. Go to AOL.com and the request should be there.
Should I go to like Safari on her phone, AOL.com, or load her AOL account onto this phone?
It doesn't matter because as soon as she allows it, if you go to Safari, AOL.com, log into her email and password, there should be an email there from Apple saying, hey, please join this calendar. Then the calendar will automatically show up on the phone.
So, and I can do that right on her phone, right?
Yeah, you could. You could use Safari on her phone or you could use Safari on your computer. Guys, I'm going to shut it down here this evening. We're running a little bit long. I am going to post all of these from now on online. I'm trying to debate on whether I'm going to use my own website to host the video or if I'm going to push them to YouTube. I'll probably push them to YouTube and just send links over. So if you ever want to go through and look at any of the old town halls. But I really appreciate everybody coming in tonight. Cheryl, I hope we will see you again soon.
Should I email you through the session thing to schedule the thing to come here so I can get caught up because you guys are losing me so much.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I only have one previous town hall. We've been doing town hall, Cheryl, for probably 3 or 4 years now, but I only have one. I just started recording yesterday, so this is all the recording process is new for me to do this. But if you have a question or whatnot, you can see us on the Mondays. If you need to schedule me in the future, that's where you would go through my website to do it, and that's what.
Okay, I think I probably need to do that to get at least caught up because waiting once a week, I feel like I'm so far behind already.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think I need to get
Being
caught
out
up.
being out in Kannapolis, when you do schedule me, schedule for more time than you think you need because of travel time. I usually allow 30 minutes in between, but getting out to all the way out to Kannapolis will be a little bit longer. But in the future, it's real easy to schedule if you need to. Cheryl, you just go to the front page of my site, and then you can choose how long you need me, basically. Okay?
And then you just reply back and tell me when type
It
thing?
automatically,
Scotty.
yeah, it automatically schedules. Yes, Anne.
What's your password? Just quickly, my daughter has an iPhone, and she keeps getting, it keeps turning on her voice control, voiceover, and it's like not letting her send pictures anymore. Is this something that she should take? It's an iPhone 4, but not a 4S. Is this something we got it from Verizon?
I'm trying to figure out what you mean.
Like, I think it's for blind people or something. It's called VoiceOver, and you can go to settings and turn it on.
I see. Thank you. All right. So yeah, you go to settings. It's what's called an assisted service. So it gives us other abilities for people that have a hard time dealing with this interface. Let's find where those settings are. Let's see.
But the problem is that hers will just all of a sudden come on and be on VoiceOver, and when that happens, the phone is just virtually frozen. I mean, you really can't do anything with it. You can't even scroll. You can't go to settings to change it.
Okay.
The only way she can change it is she has to actually plug back into my Mac, and then.
You know what she could do? Why don't, if she wants, and if she takes it to the Apple Store, they're going to tell her exactly what I'm going to tell you right now, and that is, first thing you want to do is restore the phone. So plug it up to iTunes and restore it to the new operating system. All right, and then she can bring everything back over if she wants. If she brings everything back over from a backup, and the problem still exists, then you'd restore it again. But this time, just re-download the things that you want, re-add the email. It's a pain, but that's what you would do next. But that will probably solve the problem.
I think she's already done that.
I doubt it. I don't
All
think
right.
she restored it. If she's restored it, that means she wiped it completely.
Yeah. All right.
But if I'm almost sure it's a software problem. I'm very confident it's a software problem. I mean, if you can't wipe it, if you can't solve it through the restore, then yeah, you could take it into them, and they would probably. Well, I can't speak for what they would do really.
So, like, do a backup on iTunes, then go to the actual phone and choose, like, restore.
No,
not
restore
that.
through iTunes.
Restore through iTunes. All right,
Yeah.
I'll tell her.
Yeah, the
All
phone.
right, thanks for your help.
Yeah, currently the
And
phone. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna probably set up an appointment with you soon, as soon as I get my new Mac. Which
All right.
hopefully will be soon.
All right, great.
right.
I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thanks for hanging in with us so long.
Thanks,
I'm
Scotty.
going to try to keep this to an hour, but we had a lot going on tonight, so I'll see you guys the next time.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.